My name is Jonathan Stein, and I am a teaching artist for Snow City Arts. I use he, him, and his pronouns. To begin, let's gather our materials. You'll need a pencil, a glue stick, some colored markers, some colored construction paper, and if you have one, a magazine. The first thing we're going to try is tearing paper. Tearing paper is very useful when making a collage. So choose one piece of colored construction paper and we'll get started. To help us tear the paper, we'll fold it first. Folding is moving something over onto itself so that one part of it covers another. Folding our construction paper will make a straight line in the paper, which will help us tear it. So fold the paper so that the two corners of one side meet the two corners of the opposite side. Once you see them meet up, hold that area down with one hand. Now on the opposite side of where the corners have met, there will be a bend in the paper. It might look kind of rounded. With your other hand, push down first in the center of the paper, then move your hand out towards the bend and over it to flatten it down. Push down and move your fingers up and down along that rounded edge a few times, flattening the entire edge. This technique of bending and flattening paper is called scoring. Bending and scoring is useful when tearing straight lines in a paper. Now let's tear the paper along the lines we have created. To do this, we'll hold and pinch the paper with our hands close together and the scored line just in between them. Place your thumbs on the front side of the paper and your fingers on the back side of the paper. Keep pinching and gently pull your hands apart one from the other, using the tension created between the pinch points to guide your tear. The paper should tear along the lines as you pull your hands apart slowly. Don't worry if the line isn't perfect, it does take some practice. The way we pinched and tore the paper, with our thumbs held closely together on one side of the paper and with our fingers on the other, is always a useful technique for tearing paper, even when you don't score the paper first. Let's try tearing the paper again without scoring it. What happens? The line is probably a little less straight, especially depending on if you pull harder with one hand or the other, but with a little practice, you can begin to control the direction of your tear. Now, find your pencils and markers. Let's draw some patterns or images or lines onto the pieces of construction paper this time before you tear them. This can make the construction paper even more colorful and bold. You can take your time and draw carefully, or you can just draw randomly. What could you draw? Perhaps lines or dots or dashes, a few squiggles, circles? Circles it is. Once you finish drawing on your construction paper, you'll be able to use the steps we've learned to tear them down into smaller pieces. Pause the video and draw onto some of your construction paper. I'm drawing circles here, but you can draw whatever you like. We'll tear that down using the techniques we've learned. These smaller pieces of construction paper you're making are the building blocks of your future collage. You'll be able to draw and tear more later as well. Are you a messy person or a clean person? As an artist, it really helps to keep your studio organized, and in this case, our studio is our tabletop with all of our collage materials on it. I'd like to take a moment and encourage you to separate your collage papers into different piles. So if you want to pause and tear some more and draw some more and find some more images and magazines, please do that and then organize your papers. Another type of image for collage can be found in a magazine, if one is available to you. If you do have a magazine, take some time to look through it for pictures that you can tear out and add to your collage papers. Keep in mind that you don't have to use the whole picture that you find. If you find a picture you like and you just like parts of it, you can tear out just the parts you like. In this picture of a bus with a guy on top of it, I just want to use the bus. So I'm going to tear the parts out I like using the techniques that we've learned, and then I'll add that to my collage papers in a little bit. Collage, as a word, translates from the French language, and it means to glue. Let's practice gluing. So we've got a couple pieces of collage paper that I've torn, and here's our glue stick. First, check to make sure that a little bit of glue is sticking out the top. That's what we want, and if it's not, twist the bottom and more will come out. So I've chosen one piece to be the bottom and then two pieces to go on top. I'm going to encourage you here for the first time to think about composition. How do things fit together when you're going to glue them? So you can move things around, try some different ideas out. Does that fit best there, or do I want to try them in a different place? This is the whole thing we're going to play with in a little bit when we make our collage. Composition and choices. All right, I'm going to go with that. So to do that, I'm going to turn the top piece over, rub some glue on it, and then put it back where I found it. I'm going to note where the other piece is, turn it over, rub some glue on it, and put it back where I liked it to go. Moved it a little bit to the right. That's it. That's the last thing I'm going to show you today before we make our collage. So let's make a collage. I propose that we make a head shape and then add some facial features onto that head shape. A head is the simple shape and idea that we can all recognize and is a good place to start. To start, find a large piece of construction paper, any color you like, and fold it long ways. So using the techniques we've learned, crease the paper, and we're going to make an oval shape or something like an oval shape. So we're going to start tearing at one end and slightly turn the paper as we tear. So keep moving your fingers and your thumbs and your hand, and then the tear will move in a semicircle. So we're working our way back towards the folded edge on the other end, and then once we get there, we can unfold it. We should have a unique shape that we made that can be our head shape. Let's review what we've learned. We've learned about scoring paper, tearing paper, drawing on paper before we tear it out, finding images and tearing those out of magazines, organizing our images, and thinking about how to begin to compose and arrange images before we glue them down. I'd like to show you some images by other artists making collages, and this might help you think about yours when you begin. The first image I want to show you is from an art movement known as Cubism. Cubism tried to show multiple ways of seeing something, not just one perspective or one angle. This image by Pablo Picasso from 1912 is called Still Life with Chair Caning. Chair caning is the thing that's in the middle bottom of the picture and around the outside. This gets credit as the first collage in art history. I just mentioned art history, and art history has a bit of a problem. It almost always has been written by men. So when you ever look at anything with art history, ask yourself the question, who wrote this history and who's it serving? With that in mind, I want to show you some more images by some great artists who do collage. Here's an image by Hannah Hawk. It's called Flight from 1931. She has two faces featured here in her collage. Can you guess what they were made with? This image is by Deborah Roberts. It's called As I Am. It's from 2017. Look at the choices she makes for the child's face. Those are really interesting choices. She's really trying some experiments, and I encourage you to do that too. This next image by Jane Quick-to-See Smith is called Target from 1992. Very different, but I want to point out the repetition that she uses. and how that plays into her collage, and I want to encourage you to think about maybe repeating an image more than once. And the final image I want to show you is by Mickalene Thomas, called Untitled Number 14 from 2015. I think this most relates to the kind of collage we're about to make. Smaller pieces of paper put together to form a face. Take a look at this one, see if you can get any good ideas. All right, I think we're ready. And now I'm going to set you free to make your own collage. There are so many cool things to decide. Will your face have ears? Will it have whiskers? A long beard? Will it have 2 eyes, or 4 eyes, or 8 eyes? Will it have no hair? Lots of hair? Purple hair? You get to experiment and compose and play. I encourage you to try things out, to make interesting choices, and to try to surprise yourself with your choices. I'm going to make my own right now. You can make yours. Let's check back with each other in a little while to see what we've done. Okay, we're back. I finished my collage. Did you finish yours? Can you show me? Can you hold it up? Wow, that is awesome. Did you surprise yourself? I'll put mine on screen right now so you can see mine. Great. I want to thank you so much for joining me.